I know I promised a half-year review into Weekly Shonen Jump, but I realized that there wasn't much to talk about with the longer running series, so I decided to just talk about the ones cancelled and the freshly starting ones since there's more to talk about with those right now. I'll be rating each series from 1 through 10, and just like before, I will be talking about some spoilers, so if you have an issue with that, sorry about that. I think I've improved with transitions, so let's get to it.
The world will never be the same.
When this series first started, people were trashing on it immediately because it's written by the same guy who wrote Tokyo Revengers. I heard the horrors of that series, but I still gave it a fair shot, and to be honest, it's just not that interesting. It feels like I'm reading a webcomic with a cool premise, but then everything else is just bland. While it only has a few chapters out, the characters don't feel anything special. I hope it improves, but in its current state, it seems like it's just heading straight to an axe. It's a 5 out of 10. When I first saw this series, I believed that it had the potential to be huge. Nicely detailed art with a body horror plot just felt like something special and ready to blow up in something like Weekly Shonen Jump. But as the weeks passed and the story progressed, I realized that it's just boring. It just feels like the things that they could do with the series, like story-wise, isn't being explored. This seems like it's going to be axed sometime soon, which is a shame, but after a few chapters, it was kind of obvious. 5 out of 10. New series, and honestly, I am getting tired of the same old Exorcist manga, but this one has potential. I like the cast. Kaoru seems to be your average MC with crazy hidden potential, but Yoji is just a cool character. A weird and mysterious mentor, but it's also pretty funny even though he isn't trying to be. The power system is pretty cool with special rings having spirits in them. It's like a Chojo stand, but from the looks of it, they can probably have more than one. I hope that it leans towards horror more because it would really make it stand out from every other series on the magazine. I recommend keeping an eye on it. It's a 7 out of 10.
Mom! 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 Mommy!
The series had such a solid start, and while I enjoyed it all the way through, I can see why many didn't. The cool paneling from its early chapters that made it stand out from everything else did not return until the very end, which was just most of its identity. Characters, while fun, were forgettable if they weren't part of the main cast, and the story is also pretty weak. I found it entertaining, but I have to agree with people that it went downhill near the end. I am very biased about this series for many reasons, but I have to admit that it's just an alright series. It's just okay. Wished it stuck around more and had the chance to fully tell its story and not leave it in a cliffhanger. It's a 6 out of 10. I just realized that I didn't talk about this series in the original video, which is disappointing because this series got cancelled. I thought it had a lot of potential, but you can tell that there weren't that many fans of the series, which sucks because the cast is pretty strong and the fights were fun. The final arc showed that potential I was speaking about with some really engaging stakes that made me look forward to it every week. But just like everything good in this magazine, it got cut short. A 7 out of 10. I recommend reading it. A new series that feels like it can be a fun time reading. From the looks of it, it's just a slice of life comedy with psychics living together. Namuro is a really sweet boy, and Kotone, while struggling, is trying to learn how to live with her powers. The way it is right now, it's pretty good, and I can see it as a small comfort manga to just relax and read. Something in the likes of Yotsuba. Not every manga has to be full of complex lore or character development. Sometimes, all a story really needs is a relaxing time. 7 out of 10. After a 2-year break, RuriDragon made its official return to the magazine on March 3rd of this year. Unfortunately, it has been moved to Shonen Jump Plus and is no longer in the magazine, but I'm so happy that it has returned. There's just something so authentic in how the mangaka writes Ruri and her friends interacting with one another. It's also one of those manga that you can just read to just have a cozy nice time. With a magazine full of serious manga, sometimes all you really need is a quirky slice of life. 8 out of 10. If you haven't read, please do, it's amazing.
Disgusting black creatures, get out of my sight.
This was such a disappointing manga to read. I genuinely thought it had a ton of potential, but after its opening 3 chapters, I realized how bad it was gonna get. The Kasane being monsters formed from our emotions is such an interesting concept that leads to cool writing ideas. Due to its cancellation, the mangaka never had the chance to explore it. It's a series full of potential, But at the end of the day, the final product is just not that good. 4 out of 10. I do have to say, these two girls on screen are very cute. It's like the only good thing about this series.
All right, everyone!
Last time, I kept mentioning how easy comedy manga makes me laugh, but this one is just really funny. I first went in thinking that it was gonna start off good, but the comedy would stagnate and be the same thing, just slightly change each chapter. But thank God I was wrong, because the comedy in this series can be pretty good at times. It does have its immature jokes, but that's to be expected in a magazine aimed at kids. I love Chojo, Ipongni, and Copbot. They are so funny together, and the situations they get themselves in are just hilarious. 100% recommend, and I hope it sticks around for a long time. 8 out of 10. We all knew this was gonna get the axe, but it's still sad to see it go. While I did enjoy reading it, the series did have issues in making it entertaining. Figure skating is cool, but it's difficult to translate it into manga form. The art is so pretty, and both Hayuma and Kisara were so endearing that I just kept wanting to read more. I do have to respect the mangaka for using their rare opportunity to be in Jump to make something about a theme they love, even if they know it won't do well. That's something I have to respect, and will be following whatever they do in the future. 7 out of 10. So right when I had everything recorded, they announced the cancellation of a few series and then 3 new ones that were coming out. So I wanted to wait until that entire phase goes through to then start finishing the video, so that's why it took me like an entire month. I don't want to take that long on these because I've already recorded so much, but yeah, lightning round. Let's go, lightning round. So I was right about Dear Anemone, and again, it's a shame that it's gone, but the thing that makes me so sad to see go is Green Green Greens. That was an incredible series with amazing characters, and it had so much potential, but it's still a manga about golf, and that's just hard for people to get into. If you haven't read it, I heavily recommend it. It's an 8 out of 10. Again, there were 3 series that were introduced, and I just want to mention my quick thoughts about them. Yokai Buster Marukami is fine. The comedy is a bit weak, and I hope it doesn't stay like that because then it's going to be a quick axe. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi is pretty funny, and I like the MC, but I hope it doesn't try to take itself too seriously because then its funny charm is going to disappear. Himaten seems like it's going to be either very loved or heavily hated. It did remind me of gal cleaning, and there's no way it's gonna go down that route, but it's just something that's stuck in my head. And that's it! I'm sorry that I didn't fully keep my promise, but again, I just felt like it wasn't the right time to make another Jump video this soon. I still wanted to put something out, so I decided to do this instead. This was fun to make, and I have more videos planned, but I don't know when those will be coming out. If you want, like, subscribe, and comment down below. I do read every comment, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that, but I do. I'm RuriDragon, my socials are down below, and thank you so much for watching.
Crazy, Lois. It's like that one